March was mostly a month of finishing things, with me being on the tail end of finishing Persona 5 Strikers and taking the time to do all the leftover things I wanted to do in other games. I did somehow end up having time to play smaller things too, as I definitely underestimated just how much time I'd have after finishing my console ones, and this worked out well as it got me hyped for certain things that will come out in future and also reminded me why I haven't gotten more into others. It was definitely more of an interim month in the gaming calendar though, which means less new releases in this video, but nonetheless plenty of things I played. So with that, here are the JRPGs I played in March. I've been jokingly to myself calling Project Triangle Strategy Triangle Square because of its funny little name, but the moment I actually tried it, I decided I'd stop picking on it, as it's actually quite a fun strategy experience and captures the same beauty as Octopath Traveler with a new story that won me over by the time I finished with the demo. A demo that I didn't actually fully finish, as by the time I finished the first battle, I already knew I wanted to play it. The demo was a great reminder of how beautiful that 2D HD style is, and I loved how much it felt at home with tactical gameplay, with its own set of tactical types like regular mages and attacking units to special ones like strategist and spy that take character types from these JRPG stories and give them their own unique playstyle. And the battle wasn't without challenge, with the enemy UI not being afraid to get right up close and personal and attack when I wasn't careful. So the variety of potential strategies and unit types to use in battle has me excited to check it out more, and is probably the most satisfying tactical system I've tried in a while. The story also ended up winning me over by the end of my time with it. At the beginning, I guess since it's been a while since I've played a more traditional fantasy game, all the fantasy language wasn't really doing it for me at the start, but by the end, maybe thanks to the voice acting or the plot itself and its politics, I got much more into it, and it suits the type of strategy and gameplay. And since this demo is from somewhere in the middle of the game, I'm very curious to see what led up to the moments we got to play with. I also liked how you could view each character's more detailed artworks at any time, which helps me learn who everyone was and their role in the story quickly. And also with the fact that exploring the field and talking to characters can influence the story in battle, it's a world I'm interested to see evolve as I play it. The full game is naturally still a while off, with it being scheduled for next year, but this demo and all the little things you can check out in it definitely have me excited, which is why I decided to give it Game of the Month, as I think it shows a lot of promise. Hopefully we see another demo or something before then, but so far I'm glad this demo helped get me excited for it, and I look forward to hearing more about it in the lead up to its release. While it feels like a while ago now, it was in early March I was finishing the second half of Persona 5 Strikers, which I binged at the beginning of the month as I was so excited to see the end of another exciting Phantom Thieves journey, and I'm happy to say it delivered the exact kind of sequel I had hoped for. Since then, I've made a review on it where you can hear my more detailed thoughts, but in short, I have a lot of fun memories of discovering Japanese cities I want to go to with my favorite Persona cast, and adding new characters like Sophia and Zenkichi to the mix, and I love how well it fleshed out those characters while still expanding on the world in true Persona style that lets the original game stand on its own but adds a great new story for those who want more, with fun action combat to boot. And it was an enjoyable game to play with after work, to have something fast-paced to play with a great story, so I'm glad this Persona sequel exists as a fun continuation to an already great world. Since then, I've only jumped back into it once to complete a quest I had trouble with, which I enjoyed as the action combat is always fun, but as I said in my review, after the amount of quests I played in my main playthrough, I still feel like I've got everything I wanted from the experience for now, and will be putting it down in favor of waiting for the next game I play from this world. I don't know if that will be Shin Megami Tensei 5 or another Persona game at this point, although I'd be more than fine for either. But until then, it's great this series could have one last chance to shine in this unique sequel, and I look forward to seeing what's next for this wonderful world. Another game I made sure to tie up some loose ends in March was Atelier Ryza 2, which I took the chance to do on one of my days off and made sure I finished everything I wanted to do in it so I could feel like I was fully done with it. The main thing I wanted to do was see all the events I had waiting for me on the map, and I managed to fill up a good part of a day doing this, as there really are a lot to find, especially since watching an event usually means unlocking another one at some point. It's a fun way to spend time with its characters though, and even to get back into its mechanics, as they occasionally give you little quests. And after I refreshed my Atelier skills with a little gathering and synthesis, I also finally took the time to try its synthesis fusion system, which was exciting to try at least once, and I'd like to play with more in future sometime if I ever feel the itch to play. My main focus was the events though, and while I'm sure there are more I could find if I wanted to check guides for the rest, I'm happy I was able to see some of the final ones with some characters, including ones from the first game that have me excited to see how their stories will continue. Hopefully a continuation will be sooner rather than later with Atelier's usual release schedule, and the fact that illustrator Toridamono recently teased that he knows what's going on with the series. But I'm also happy to wait a little longer if it means getting a game as good, if not better than 2, and it'll be interesting to see if I end up jumping back into Ryza before then, as there are still a few more interesting mysteries I could spend time finding in its world. Until then though, I'll be leaving behind the great time I had with this game and looking forward to playing and talking about other Atelier games in this video and this month. So as usual, I'm lucky I won't have to be away from this series too long as we all wait to hear what's next for the secret trilogy. I wasn't sure if I was going to play any smartphone games in March as I was feeling out of them towards the end of February, and while this is still mostly true, thanks to occasionally being a sucker for gimmicks and events, I somehow ended up playing 3, and while I'm not playing any right now, it was fun to play these experiences that I've been meaning to jump into at some point. The one that kept my interest most was Genshin Impact, which I was a little bit surprised by as it's usually something I get overwhelmed by. What got me back into it for a bit was the KFC collaboration where you could get recipes inspired by the restaurant, and once I got them all, I was reminded that the cooking mechanic makes you wait a few minutes in real time for the recipes to be done, and instead of finding this annoying, I took this as a good excuse to run around the world, which is a very easy thing to do when you have time as there's always something to do, especially if you're still below adventurer level 10 like me. I finally did the Glida's license quest, which was much more fun to play with on PS4 than when I played with it on my non-gaming laptop during the beta period last year, and in return I got through it much quicker, which actually prompted me to delete Genshin off my phone, as despite the convenience of having it with me everywhere, I think the console version is the benchmark of how I like to play, and so on that, I continued to enjoy just running around and playing with some of my newer units until the time when my in-game food was ready, and I wouldn't mind doing this again sometime if one of its events catch my eye, as it's nice to have a big wide world to explore, especially once I took all the pressure off to level up and just enjoyed what I could do in a short amount of time. Another thing I jumped into much more briefly was Final Fantasy Brave Exvius War of the Visions, which I did with the intent of getting Tidus as part of its login bonus, as I love the art style of this game and the way it brought the characters of my first Final Fantasy to life again. This was actually my first time with War of the Visions though, which meant getting through its tutorials and downloads that I really wasn't feeling committed to doing with only half an hour before bed. But maybe when I have a bit more time and if another one of its events gets my attention, I'll be able to enjoy it again, and its tactical combat did seem interesting, but I just haven't put enough time into it to have a real opinion on it yet. The same thing can be said for my time with Atelier Online, which I literally only jumped into when I remembered that there's this type of game with events and gotchas, and also with all the Atelier characters I love. I saw its first cutscenes with its adorable fairy character like I had a long time ago, but after that I was put off by tutorials again that never seem to finish by the time I'm getting off the train. Luckily, it was just announced recently that Atelier Online will be getting an English release soon, so I hope to dedicate some time to it depending on when that's released. So until then, I'll probably just leave it alone, but seeing people's impressions of the beta on Twitter make it look promising. Finally, the only other thing I had a look at was Persona 5 the animation, which I usually end up watching the first episode of in Japanese and then dropping, and this month was no different. So I think I might bite the bullet soon to get a VPN and try watch it in English on Funimation or something, as that's how I seem to enjoy the series the most. While I had varying levels of fun with all these, I don't have any plans to jump back into any of them in April at this point, as there's just too much going on, but it was cool to take a small peek into games I wish I had more time to enjoy and hopefully can talk about and get into more in future, although there's always so many things to play both in new releases and the old backlog that I try not to think about too much, that I think I'll just see how it goes and keep enjoying and talking about them as I get to them. April is already well underway at this point, since I've already finished a game and made a review about it, but the month still feels young as there's still plenty more to come. So many things in fact that I've already accepted that I'll have to pick and choose between releases. The game I've reviewed already is Poison Control that came out on the 13th, a story about exploring hell with a poisonet that shares half your body that has JRPG elements mixed with third-person shooting, and I was surprised how much I enjoyed as I've already gone back to go get all of its endings. I definitely recommend checking out my review if you want to know more. And on that note, there should be plenty more reviews to come too, as the Atelier Mysterious DX Trilogy is coming out on the 22nd, and I couldn't be more excited. Atelier Sophie and Furious in particular are holes in my Atelier knowledge that I'm finally ready to learn more about, and I'm thinking it will also be very fun to play Lydian Soul again too, after finally knowing more about the cast from the first two Mysterious games, particularly with the extra content and story promised. If you know my channel, you know I love Atelier and wouldn't miss this for the world, which does unfortunately mean missing out on some other great releases like the NieR Replicant re-release, but that's just how it goes some months as there's only so much time, and nonetheless I do intend to get to Replicant sometime, as that's another hole in my JRPG knowledge, so I'm sure I'll get to it someday. Aside from games, a few more things I'd like to somehow fit into my month are the JRPG Anime episodes coming. I've already watched the first episodes of Blue Reflection Ray and The World Ends With You, along with Seven Knights Revolution that I didn't know existed until my boyfriend happened to come across it while looking at what's coming out this season. I don't know if I'll fully keep up with these as I'm already behind on Seven Knights and just received another code for review, but it is exciting to have more things to enjoy this month, so I'll do my best to fit them in, maybe as I'm eating or something, as I'd love to support these different versions of stories from series I love in the gap between their upcoming games that these anime are going to be very good at making easier. Whether you're playing games or watching the related anime, it's certainly one of the busier months this year so far, and I'm already playing some great things I'm excited to talk about. So as usual, I look forward to hearing what you guys are playing too, as we continue in this month of many great things to play and experience. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below what you played in March and what you plan to play this month. You can like and share this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel for more JRPG content like this, and ring that bell to get notifications on whenever I post so you don't miss a thing. You can check out more videos here, and you can find me on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at JRPG Jungle. Links to those will be in the description below, and until next time, thank you, bye!